Θέλω να καλέσω κάποιον που πέρυσι είχε ενθουσιάσει πάρα πολύ με την ομιλία του. Mr. Mark Halfiger, CEO, PCCW Global. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. My apologies to the translator, but I was told that I have only 20 minutes, and so I'm going to try and cover the three topics that Petros Mavroidis, our local representative, asked me to cover, which is an update from last year since we spoke, a little bit of a discussion about what we're doing specifically in the OTT space, and a little bit of a commercial about what took place with us yesterday. Just to remind you that Hong Kong Telecom, or HKT as we're known, is the PTT, or the incumbent operator in Hong Kong. And in order to give you some affinity to Greece, Hong Kong is an island. It's also an environment which offers telecommunications, media, IT, real estate, and so on. And importantly, I shared with you last year that HKT 3 years ago spun off in the markets uniquely, not as a corporation, but rather as a trust. And in the last year, we've heard that in the United States, financial markets are considering that telecommunications companies need to factor the thoughts surrounding depreciation, and we just heard the regulators speak eloquently about CapEx and OpEx, and perhaps the financial markets have a solution which is structured in a trust, and I invite all telecom operators to see what that is. We have more than 17,000 employees worldwide, and we provide what I will describe later as a quadruple experience. PCCW Global, which is the unit that I manage, is responsible for international activity. We have people on the ground in more than 55 countries. We have IP connectivity worldwide, satellite, voice, data, video, everything that you can imagine. These are where our 5 office centers are located. And here locally in Greece, we started operations in 2007. I invite you to go and visit our booth, and you can see what we've been doing in solutions with various verticals around the world. Importantly, I want to also do a little bit of a commercial for OTA, if the distinguished Chief Executive Officer will permit me. We're both partners in a consortium that's called Asia, Africa, Europe 1, AAE1, where OTA is responsible for the branching unit in Greece. We are responsible for the branching unit in Hong Kong. It's a huge project. It's the first time in 22 years that a cable system has been built in a consortium structure aiming all the way from Hong Kong to Europe, and we're very excited to collaborate together with OTA in that regard. Our product portfolio beyond that undersea transmission is very robust, fiber and satellite at the core, in addition to all sorts of services that we provide to enterprises and service providers. And importantly, underneath this expanded network coverage that you see for fiber, IP, satellite, and so on, you can see the 4 circles that we have at the top that we've been focusing our attention upon: cloud, media, and the mobile ecosystem, particularly in the wholesale space. And now we're moving into managed security solutions. Last year, this was the last slide that I put up for you. I said we can learn from each other. That I believe that despite the fact that I was representing an advanced laboratory in Hong Kong, that there is things that we in Hong Kong and in Greece can do together. Only a half hour before I put the slide up, I had the opportunity to meet an interesting young man named Yanis Giokas, and together we made a little bit of news in your newspapers this morning. PCCW Global and Cryptia have identified where we need to go. Cryptia has done some amazing things in focusing on cybercrime, on cybersecurity as an issue. They understand what organizations must do at the enterprise level in that regard. And we believe that together with Cryptia, we'll be able to listen, simplify, and enable solving security problems for organizations, certainly in the enterprise space, and perhaps later also in the wholesale space. Cryptia has a 24/7 security operations center, which we hope to enhance here in Greece, together with our local team. Importantly, a threat intelligence platform, the ability to aggregate information from various devices that may exist in a network, will become critical, if not already, to every organization that's out there. Cryptia brings the security capability, PCCW Global brings the infrastructure that's globally deployed, and I think that together will be quite successful. I have to go to the next presentation. Thanks. Wow. So, I was asked to fill you in on where we were since last year. Well, last year I said we had 5 fixed operators and 5 mobile operators. That's no longer true, because as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, we've acquired our competitor in Hong Kong. We still maintain our quadruple play, and I would still argue that Hong Kong is the laboratory for the world in terms of how quadruple play services are delivered. Broadband, fixed network, mobile, pay TV, however it's delivered over any device. This is a slide that I showed you last year. Only some of the logos have changed as we've rebranded our mobile organization is important to understand. We still believe that the sweet spot of delivering organizational value exists in the quadruple play, making sure that bandwidth can also deliver any type of application. This is the key. As you heard perhaps even the regulator say just now, it's important to raise the bandwidth value that can exist to the end user, and in Hong Kong we're no longer talking in the 100 megabit space, but rather anything that's fixed or even wireless, we're looking to the 1 gig to the user environment. 4G LTE is fully deployed in Hong Kong. All the mobile operators are delivering it. If you come to my office and you're roaming on our 4G network, we'll be happy to deliver 150 meg to your handset. Our network in Hong Kong is completely fiber to the home ready. 80% of homes can simply pick up the phone or dial up through the internet and gain broadband access within 4 days. And in the last year, Akamai has published that in fact Hong Kong, and particularly HKT's network, has probably the fastest average speed to an end user anywhere in the world. And, important for Greece perhaps, you may want to learn from our experience in delivering premier services. We now offer fiber to the yacht. Moored in the marina, of course, we don't offer it out at sea. That's a different type of solution. Wireless tech, just wanted to see if my translation or English was okay there. So you got it, we're good. Also on the wireless side, 225 meg plus 150, this is what we're doing on the cellular environment. We combine that with an offloaded Wi-Fi structure today with more than 17,000 Wi-Fi hotspots throughout Hong Kong. And in that regard, you can see that the fixed to mobile experience that we deliver is significant. 2G, 3G, 4G network builds. This is what our network looked like in step 1. And then we had HKT on top. We acquired CSL on the bottom. We're now merging those two environments. The HKT structure was a Huawei built structure. The CSL was a ZTE built structure. We're now going to take decisions on how those interconnect. Again, we would argue that we have some of the most advanced knowledge in that regard around the world. Petros Mavroidis asked me to speak a little bit about where we are in television, particularly in OTT content, over the top, and whether or not we viewed that as a telecommunications operator, as an incumbent that provides fixed network-based, value-added, multi-channel television. Do we view it as a threat? Frankly, we don't view any technology or any application as a threat, but always, only as an opportunity. 10 years we've been operating television services. We went with this quadruple play. How can we take a simple sports service, deliver it over a cellular phone, over a tablet, over a computer, over any type of fixed line? And here I think that our delivery of the British Premier League soccer rights, which is very complicated and sophisticated, is probably the best example of how to draw users in to use a multi-branded, multi-capable, multi-network device environment. Importantly, we look at high-quality content that's available on demand, and that can be through fixed networks or it can be over the top. Content interactivity is important. You can see in the second square on the right, Now Player TV Everywhere, that is effectively our in-house designed, over-the-top, IP-based television player. It's a set-top box that's on the web. That goes in addition to the set-top box capability that we have. As simple as we make it for the end user, this slide is very basic in demonstrating how complex it is to deliver to anyone. First, you have to make sure that you have content management systems that are able to handle digital rights management wherever it may be. You need to make sure that you're handling the consumer correctly, that you're financing correctly, that you're managing security correctly, security from an intellectual property point of view. You need to make sure that the network is planned well, that there's sufficient bandwidth that gets down to every device. Here too, I believe that trial and error over the last 10 years has made us expert in the areas, and we have determined that it's impossible to focus on a single technology, but rather we need to look at everything that moves forward. Initially, we focused only on set-top box development for our fixed network structure. How can we deliver conditional access over our network and assure that content providers are satisfied, and so too are the customers? Eventually, we understood that having a set-top box only strategy was insufficient, And at the end of 2009, 2010, our engineers started to work on creating a hybrid model for ourselves, a virtual set-top box through the connected television. And if you notice today, most television companies who are providing CPE, and they could be Samsung or they could be LG, are now focusing on how to deliver an ecosystem. And I challenge you to come to China, where LETV or Xiaomi are offering today a bundled service, 4K TV, for less than 500 euros, together with a bunch of service. You heard me right, 4K TV, 50 inches, perfect screens, for less than 500 euros. The whistle is worthwhile. And by the way, the service is excellent. All of this content in all the key categories is critical. You need to have TV everywhere. You need to have, on the right-hand corner of that circle, you need to also have the ability to pay for content in any structure, any technology delivered at any time. You need to make sure that your applications, as we have in the junior apps, are appropriate to every segment of the population that you may have. And importantly, it needs to be interactive. We have gone very deep by hiring and acquiring capabilities in-house of various forms in order to make sure that applications are meaningful in language and out of language, in whatever vertical of society that we may have, consumer or enterprise, elderly or young. It's important that the business that you have is meaningful to every one of the end users that are there. The TV Everywhere Now player, for the Hong Kong population today, about 7 million people, 7.5 million people in Hong Kong today. We've had close to 2 million downloads of this over-the-top software that you see over here. And we're extending that experience today with over-the-top rights from major sporting events, including the British Premier League. And we're making sure that all of our applications, and I'll speak about audio in just a moment, and you can see the headphones there, are correlated across all of our applications so that the feeling, the user feeling, is ubiquitous. It's seamless. And no matter how you're doing it, we can. And yet, we do all of the services that you might get from a set-top box. We have the delayed services or the timing, the TiVos that you're used to in America. We have it both on the set-top box and on the over-top type of service. The system is complicated. This is just a general overview. Global's network is also used in order to ingress content to the environment using our content distribution network infrastructure. As a result, our engineering skill sets from the device all the way to the content and in every component of the network, we believe is quite sophisticated, and we think it's important that all service providers around the world embrace these types of contexts. But it isn't just television. We're very focused on HD and high-quality audio services, and importantly, we believe that even an audio service can be used ubiquitously. Hear a song, upload it to your mobile phone, and make sure that you can hear it later with your family on the television set or on your fixed network device. And here, too, we've created our own branding, our own capability, our own live programming, whether in China or in Hong Kong. Frankly, audio, if you are in a low bandwidth environment at the moment, is a great start. And I've been to many restaurants in Greece, and there's always some form of audio going on. I'm sure it's something that can be appreciated over here. As a result, we've also made sure that we're taking good selected content for any new media platform. We have our own tablets that we've designed that go in the house, and I'll explain that in a moment. And we made sure that every content that we can be provided, whatever the tablet is, whatever the device, is available on the go, fixed and mobility, wherever you are, entertainment, news, and whatever the case. It fits in also to the new strategy which we've deployed called Smart Living. We've made sure that homes in Hong Kong are able to deliver any type of home automation controlled from wherever you may be. Smart living can include home monitoring, it can include all various forms of areas, but being in the home also means being able to manage that capability outside the home. And you can see in the lower left-hand corner there a figurative view of what a home looks like and how the information is deployed over a Wi-Fi or a fiber network or a mix of the two, and how those same services can be used ubiquitously outside on the street. Importantly, we felt that telephone devices, as we're used to in the fixed network, were no longer useful, but we didn't want to enjoy any churn in that environment. And so we sent our engineers to work, and for a number of years we built our own devices until 2013, when collaboration with Samsung allowed us to deliver a specially fitted i3 device, which is effectively a Wi-Fi tab that serves the smart living, the home automation, but also gives all of the applications, including the television and the audio that we've delivered. We've even gone so far as to give recipes to housewives and to assure that entertainment and finance are all available in whatever any customer wants, making sure that we have a huge content department delivering on applications. And then we became smart about the network. We understood that all this information requires huge amounts of storage. The storage environment, too, has generated for us an enormous amount of money. Dropbox and the others are great services, but frankly, as one of the speakers said, they're not based locally in your environment. You need to make sure that you have storage and cloud service capability locally in order to assure the quality of how storage information of your own little private network is delivered smartly. Because if you're going to deal with things such as e-health, or later on e-education, which is the two areas that we're very focused on now as we build out to the rest of the world, having large, personal, efficient, low latency storage capabilities is critical to deliver even from the future classroom and into the home. I want to thank, first of all, Paul Berryman, who's the Chief Technology Officer of PCCW, for the assistance he gave. He's one of the thought leaders in the world of multiplayer television, over-the-top content. He works closely with my team. I would also like to say to the folks here in Greece, and particularly to the local team, how grateful we are for opening up an opportunity. I want to thank Yannis Giokas, particularly, and all of the team at Cryptea Networks for being bold, entrepreneurial, and innovative. And I believe that here in Greece, there is a huge amount more that entrepreneurs who are willing to seize the moment, the knowledge that they have, and tackle the opportunity. And last, to the organizers of Infocom, if you wouldn't have invited me last year, I would have never met the folks at Cryptea Networks. So thank you very much. Don't know if anything will evolve here, and we look forward to seeing you.